He has just submitted his thesis, so I just invited him to share his experience with us.
Happy, I can say.
Mhm.
And I grew up in a very small farm near to Rio de Janeiro. So in this farm, my father has some sheep, some cows, chicken, rabbit.
Like research culture here and the research culture in Brazil. So what's the difference between the two?
Really, instead of publishing one paper very fast, for example, some PhD or PhL, you wait some time to go deep in the study and publish some Nature Communication or something higher, high impact level. I can separate in two different kind of people: the German people and no German people. The German,
Yes, in academia we have more freedom than industry, but industry have a lot of funds, so
Yes.
we have to choose between the two.
exactly. But such kind of quantum computing,
Yeah.
in this quantum computers using some qubits.
Yeah.
So my work, I study such kind of single molecule magnets. It's one kind of material that can be used for qubits.
Parvati Pate Har Har Mahadev. Good morning, this is Abhishek and welcome to my channel Manipandiyan. Today I have a very special guest, Matthews, and he's from Brazil, and he has just submitted his thesis. So I just invited him to share his experience with us. So welcome, Matthews.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So very first question is how you are feeling after submitting your thesis now.
Happy, I can say. So I can finally go home for long vacation, because since several years ago I had no vacation at all.
Okay, how many years you didn't visit it?
So last year I took only 2 weeks of vacation, and then I was working continuously. So I did not stop.
It's long time. Okay.
Finally, I can go for Brazil for a long time. I mean, 60 days of vacation. So,
yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's fine.
So before discussing about the much experiences of PhD, firstly, how you get this position at IFW?
Oh, I think it's a very long story.
Yeah.
So, as you already said, I'm from Brazil, and I grew up in a very small farm near to Rio de Janeiro. So in this farm, my father has some sheep, some cows, chicken, rabbit. And then since my childhood, I was very interested in astronomy and astrophysics. And then I started some programs in my high school.
Okay.
And in this meantime, I was studying astronomy and physics, etc. Then after finishing my high school, I got some time for working in a very big company. So I was a lawyer assistant for this company for...
You have done law?
Yes,
Great,
so almost
man.
3 years.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah, so almost 3 years I was working like a lawyer assistant. And then 2014, I got out of this company and start my bachelor time in physics.
Great.
And in the meantime, I was working part-time in some company and at night at university. And then to 2019, 2018, I finished my bachelor time in physics, first class actually.
Okay.
And then I was doing some research in astrophysics also in my bachelor. I was working some dark clouds and polarization of the light in the middle of interstellar medium. And then I started my master degree in physics also, but I slightly chose another field. So it was solid state physics, also in Brazil. But it was during the COVID time, so it was very tough for me. And then I was working 11, 12, 14 hours per day to finish my master thesis. And then 2 weeks before I finished my thesis, I submitted for many positions, specifically in Germany. And one of them is the position I got here in Dresden. So because I was focusing molecular magnets and also molecular structures and magnetism in solid state physics, and then I decided to come to Dresden.
Okay, in your masters, you were doing some magnetism and all.
Yes, so in my master I was studying some surface science. Specifically, I was doing some technical experiment for bulk. It's a magneto-optical Kerr effect, and also some XPS and such stuff in ultra high vacuum.
Okay, so how you, after getting the position here, and you said like previously you was like, okay, do some astrophysics or something,
Yes.
and then working to materials and all, how
Yeah.
you switch, and like after coming here, how you decide your problem? It's like, okay, the project was like that, or supervisor, or it's you who chooses the problem?
Yes, I applied for this position because I saw the open project in single molecule magnets.
Yeah.
That was quite interesting for me. Obviously, my background was in astrophysics,
Yeah.
but since in my bachelor time, I was feeling it was missing something. I was missing touch the stuffs. So I want to feel the experiment by itself, because astrophysics, you mostly
Do the calculations
do
and
calculations
stuff
and computing. That was okay for my bachelor time, but then I decided, no, it's time to move on. And then I moved
I
into...
personally like appreciate it, because one thing I know, I have done this competition and experiments both, and like what I have seen in the research industry, you can say in industry or academics, like those who are doing calculations, they knows nothing about the experiments, and those who are doing the experiments, they knows nothing about the calculations, and the trade-off between the two, no one have the idea. So I guess there should be a class of people who should do both, and they should know how to link the data of both calculations and the experiments. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is my background in astrophysics. It's nowadays very useful because in my thesis I did some calculations. So I mean, 30% of my thesis was about theoretical calculations in single molecule magnets, and then I used my expertise in computer.
Computing abilities would have been helped, like error solving.
Yes,
that is
exactly.
superb. Because you do any programming, anything, if you are good in error solving, then you can manage any programs.
Yeah, exactly. So I was using very difficult programming language. It's named Fortran. So it's a worldwide spread for language, but it's more for physicists. I used it during my master and my bachelor, but right now I'm using Python.
Great.
Much faster.
Python, no. Python is like easier than Fortran.
Yes,
It's
much easier.
Faster if you want to go, then you can go for C programming or something. That is much faster than Python.
Yes.
But Python have a lot of modules, so we can use that for programming, and then for scientific stuff. It's
Yes.
bit of easy, like researchers like us who can use the modules and then train our data and something like that.
Yeah, Python has a lot of libraries. You can just import it.
Yeah.
But
that's the benefit of Python.
Yes, but I also learned some C++ and C# in my bachelor. I do not use it currently, but I know the basics.
Perfect. So okay, now let's dive into your this journey of PhD, first year, second year, third year, and this fourth, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to the first year. How, like, what were the problems you faced after coming here? Is it language problem? Then obviously settling here, a lot of paperwork and everything. So what basically haunts you sometimes?
Yeah, I think I can start before coming to Germany, because I got this position in May 2021.
COVID time.
COVID time. And then in Brazil had some president that was not so polite with the German chancellor.
Okay, who was he?
Bolsonaro, his name.
Okay.
He and Angela Merkel was not so kind each other. And then the German embassy in Brazil was closed for more than 6 months. And then I could not get the visa to come to Germany.
So the relations of the two countries were affecting you.
Yes, it was
also.
very, very strong effect.
Great.
And then finally in September 2021, the embassy opened again. And then I got the visa. After 2 weeks, I came to Germany. And that was very tough time.
You started with a tough
I was very anxious to lose the position. I was afraid to, my supervisor postponed me to another person. And then I arrived in Germany. It was in fall, almost winter. It was very cold. So compared to Brazil, it was very cold. Because Brazil, it's 26, 27. Here was 2 degrees. And then my first impressions for German, that was very interesting country, but I faced some issues with the language in the beginning because it's everything in German. It's an obvious fact, but you only realize when you are here, and then you say, "Oh, okay, it's not in my language; it's in German." And then a few weeks after I came here, I had some travel, some experiment outside of Germany. It was in Spain.
Yeah.
So many things happened in my mind. So it was very complex. So I think in the first 3-4 months, every single day I was thinking go back to Brazil. So I want to give up.
I'm also facing this very same problem. But I'm like, okay, I will survive.
Yeah, so every single time I was looking for a flight to go back to Brazil. And then I just postponed it. Okay, tomorrow I will find a flight. Tomorrow I will find a flight. And then I'm here for 4 years.
Finding the flights.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in the first year, your work started, like the instruments and experimental things, and then like it goes and data is coming, not coming. So how the second year and third year, this is the very crucial year for every PhD peoples. Like second year, we are getting the data. Data is not good. It is publishable, not publishable. Supervisor is like doing the tuning, and it gives a lot of frustration. And also, how it goes for you?
I think for me it was quite different because in the first year it was very nice. A part of this 3-4 months.
That is fine.
It was very nice. So I did the experiments. I was not expecting some papers or some articles or some stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I attended some conference. I did some experiment outside Germany. So for me it was okay. But later, in the second, third year, I realized that I should push myself more for the experiments.
Agreed.
And then
so you did conferences?
Yes, I attended many conferences.
You traveled all the Europe.
Not only Europe, so Austria, Germany, France, Spain, UK, China, Poland.
Okay, so on the government's fund, he visited all the world.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's the benefit of being in the academic. Like they gives a lot of funds to travel and learn and those things.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So for my project, we have some funding from a German scholarship program. It's named DFG. So it's a very big amount of money. So you can travel. So they will pay your expenses.
Yeah.
That's fine. So for me, the most interesting travel was to China. Very different country.
Okay.
Everything really different. So Google doesn't work there.
Yeah. Only WhatsApp works.
Yeah. So you should use some VPN or something like that. But yeah. But in the meantime, I attended many conferences. In the beginning, I was quite shy. I was not so familiar to speak to many people. And then after this conference, I think I'm quite familiar.
No, you are knowing the whole life of the
Yes. Right now, I don't care.
Good.
Yeah.
So, like, when you start pushing yourself for more data, and then publications, obviously after second year, phase comes, now I need to finish, I need to have some data and publish this.
Yes.
How it goes then?
So, my group specifically, each publication is not, you cannot publish alone. So we have some people who do the synthesis. I do some magnetic measurements, and I have also theoretician. So we combine all this data to publish one paper. So it means I cannot measure something and immediately expect some paper. And then it was quite frustration for me in the beginning because I was expect, okay, I just measured this sample this week, I in the paper, but it not happens in real life. So you should wait at least 1 year to have one nice paper.
Those who thinks like PhD is an easy job. It's like you do your part and still you have to wait for a year or 2 or 3 also sometimes to get your collaborative works, and then you can assemble all those and then publish it. So it's really like difficult to.
Yes.
Waiting is always frustrating.
Yeah. So for example, you need some calculations just to double check some experiment you see, and then the theoretician have some waiting line, and the waiting line is 6 months. So you must wait for 6 months.
I agree.
Yeah. And then I finally got some papers in my last year. So after several years, I got several papers. And then this year, I submit my thesis recently. Actually, before
Just 2 to 3
yesterday.
days before.
Yes. So
Yeah.
finally it's done. So I'm just waiting for review.
So it's like in your group, how many papers, first author papers are required to get a
We don't have
Maybe-
such kind of
without any papers also they can give.
So
The only thing is supervisors will be convinced like you have worked in your, you have
Exactly.
learned.
if a supervisor says you are okay to
Mhm.
go forward, it's
Okay. So for the viewers only, how many first author papers you have? Or you
public-
have submitted, not published. If in the archive also, then it's fine. Yeah.
So I have 2 first out papers.
Mhm.
I have 2
Mhm.
not first out papers. I was just
Those-
there measuring something.
Okay.
And I have more 6 papers that is still preparation.
Mhm.
I have 2 under review.
Yeah.
I think that's all.
I want to talk much more intense because I know PhDs, how it feels and how it goes. I have also worked for 2 years in India and then after I left here and come here. But okay, so what do you think? Is PhD worth?
It's a very good question. So, as I see, in PhD you learn how to work specifically, but at the same time, it's a very complex journey. So, I think that it's worth. So maybe should more time to understand better everything you need.
Yeah.
But in Germany specifically, you have 3 years for PhD, but in Brazil you have 4 years of PhD. So here you have to expedite your experiments and your results, but you don't have much more time to think deeply into your experiments and insights at all. And I think it's a bad point to be 3 years of PhD, because formally it's 3 years, but you
Yeah.
can extend for write the thesis. Yeah.
So what's the basic difference? Like you have seen the culture of supervisors here and like research culture here and the research culture in Brazil. So what's the difference between the two?
I can say that mainly 2 points. The data quality, I mean the science quality. So in Brazil, specifically we publish papers using some basic information about some material, and here we should go deeper and more deep to understand specifically all this information about that material. And also the working culture here. So in Brazil, you should work all day to have something. It's not a mandatory, but the supervisor
Pushes you.
expect you to work more. But here you should work 6 hours and it's okay.
But here I would comment like there is one businessman in India, Narayan Murthy, and he is Infosys. You have heard the company name, some big IT company name. And he always used to say, I don't give a shit to this work-life balance.
Yes.
Because since we are in a developing stage, our country is in developing stage and we need to work harder to get developed. The guys who are talking about this work-life balance, they have already developed and now they can rely on that. So I guess that culture is good also, because the more you can push, the more you will have the results and the more you can grow.
Yeah. So for example, talking about some papers, for example, in my group specifically, instead of publishing paper very fast, for example, some PRB or PRL, you wait some time to go deep in the study and publish some Nature Communication or something high impact level. That's
Okay, so you have made a lot of friends here. I'm seeing you.
Yeah, I
The
have many
comments about
friends
being friends.
from different countries.
yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go starting it like here. You have friends from Europe, you have friends from North and South America, you have friends from China and
Yes.
obviously Southern India and all. So how do you say about their behavior towards you, like how you feel? All would be like how they interact with you. The interaction is different or it's like similar?
No. So I can separate in two different kind of people.
Yeah.
The German people and no German people.
Okay.
The German people, they are more closed, so it's more difficult to have direct access to that person.
Like difficult to conversation with.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you should find some middle point to start a conversation, so it's not so easy. But once we start a conversation, it's very nice. And the non-European people, it's very easy to talk, so you can just talk about the weather or something like that. So it's most of the people are very open to converse.
Converse. What you will prefer, to be in the academics or move or switch to the industry?
There's a question that I don't know, so I have been discussing with my colleagues since I started my PhD time, because in academia you can do your own work and do the research that you like, so you have some freedom. However, the salary is not so high. So for example, in Germany, it's the highest salary in the Europe. But in industry, you can have a higher salary compared to academia, but you should do what your boss is saying. So you don't have such kind of freedom.
But after some years, you will be the boss if you will be in the academia. So
that's true.
Yeah, I guess in academia we have more freedom than industry, but industry have a lot of funds, so we have to choose between the two.
Exactly. But specifically in my case, I like to go for conferences. So in academia, it's easier to go for conference because.
I agree. Yeah. Okay, so to the very last I'm saying, but okay. In your thesis, whatever you have concluded, I don't have the idea. Does it impact on the research community? How it impacts on the research community? I know you can go in the details. Especially for me, I don't know whether the audience can understand it or not, but I'll try to.
I can be going very basics. So basically, right now we have this such kind of quantum computing.
Yeah.
And in this quantum computer is using some qubits.
Yeah.
So my work, I study such kind of single molecule magnets. It's one kind of material that can be used for qubits.
Perfect.
Yes. So right now, everybody's trying to synthesize and characterize some single molecule magnets near to room temperature. So it means in high temperature compared to the cryogenic state.
Yeah.
And in my work, I study some single molecule magnets and try to understand if they can be used for quantum spin bits or not. Okay. And I hope in the future they can be.
Okay, so like it's like supercomputer he's talking about. The qubits are like very small units which can be used in the like transfer of the data and all those things, which will made it this data transfer industry like 1,000 times faster. The much I know, I'm not very expert of this. And in the lastly, thank you Matthews for sharing a lot of insights and experiences with me and the audience. Okay, and take care. स्वस्थ रहिए, व्यस्त रहिए, मस्त रहिए. राधे राधे.